yes in the comment section. Let me see your yes dropping in the comment section. All right, so I can see some responses here. Good morning, Michael Ebong, Blessing Felix, Billions Unlimited, Garba Mukhtar, Samuel Shuneye, Alex Ikechukwu, Okeolumide. Good morning to you all, and thanks for the feedback. All right, so today is Monday, the 25th of August, 2025. The month is, gradually winding to an end again. Good morning, Godsin Chie. Good morning to you, sir. All right, so this week we have quite a number of events, but we have a lot of medium impact events. The orange boxes are representing medium impact events, while the red boxes represent the high impact events. Generally, high impact events are more volatile than medium impact events, but notwithstanding, we still take note of every one of them and still treat them equally as important. Now, today, Monday, we have only medium impact events. In fact, the first event today is the bank holiday from the United Kingdom. So that tells us that today we should expect very, very minimal volatility on, or even I would say preferably we can even decide to stay out on GBP USD, because we are not going to expect much volatility on that instrument because of the holiday that is taking place in the United Kingdom today. Generally, when you have a holiday taking place in any country, the currency for that country will not move very well in the market for that particular day. So I will encourage that you trade any GBP instrument with a lot of caution today. Then by 9 a.m. this morning, there'll be German IFO Business Climate. It's a medium impact event. And later today by 3 p.m., there'll be new home sales from the United States. It's equally a medium impact event. Now, because of time, I will just focus on the high impact event for the week because that's actually where we can have volatility. And tomorrow, 7:30 p.m., there'll be Bank of Canada Governor Macklem is going to give a speech. That will be a high impact event. Then Wednesday morning Nigerian time, well, let me say night Nigerian time, by 2:30 a.m. there'll be CPI from Australia. That is equally going to be a tradable high impact event. And I'm talking about the ones we should take note of for the week. Then Thursday, there'll be prelim GDP quarterly by 1:30 p.m., followed directly by the unemployment claims for United States. That's going to be a tradable high impact event. And finally, on Friday, there will be GDP from Canada by 1:30 p.m., followed by core PCE price index from United States by 1:30 p.m. Those events are equally high impact and they will be tradable. So let's take note of these events that I've mentioned. All right, with that being said, let me go back to the charts and show you what I have for today, which could stretch through the whole of this week. Don't forget the analysis we had last week, Friday, came out exactly as analyzed. Morning, Madam Onaji, and we saw massive movements on gold, on AED USD, on BTC USD, and on GBP USD. And we hope to have similar volatility, in the course of this week. So firstly, I'm going to start with, let's see, with gold. From the analysis last week, I said that gold was going to be bullish. I remember clearly drawing out my chart, showing you my inverse head and shoulder and the possibility of a bullish breakout from here, and that has already happened. However, for an inverse head and shoulder, this is just a minor part of the move. Price already broke out below the neckline, retested. Now we're expecting the continuation. We've seen the retracement phase. The next phase of movement for gold will be a continuation. If you've taken technical analysis class, we have trend, retracement, continuation, and reversal. So we've seen the trend. The trend is generally, in the upward direction as an uptrend. And now the next wave of movement is going to be, we've seen the retracement. So the next wave of movement is going to be a continuation above that retracement level. So in the course of today, or maybe to this week, I don't know when this will happen. If price is able to make a clean break above this resistance level, we will expect further bullish continuation on gold. Now, this is on 4 hour. You can as well still take it down to 1 hour and even possibly 15 minutes if that really suits your trading style. So I'm taking it down to 1 hour now. Um, okay, so this is a 1 hour time frame. So if price breaks out above this level, RSI is clearly above 50 mark. This also above zero. So that tells us we are really in an uptrend. So just wait for a clear breakout above that level and you can trigger a bullish trade on gold. So we're bullish on gold for today. And like I said, it may span the week, but let's put our focus on today first. Now, the next instrument I'll be looking at is the GBP USD. Likewise, I said last Friday that we were bullish on the GBP USD and we saw the massive bullish breakout. Now, GBP rather, GBP USD is actually getting set for a much bigger bullish breakout. And how did I come about that analysis? Yeah, I'm just a second. All right. Now, on the daily time frame for GBP USD, we can see that price is in an uptrend, higher low, a higher low. Then also we have a support. We have a confluence here on the daily time frame. We have price touching the higher low the third time. If you remember the 1, 2, 3 rules of trend lines, then also we have a support making this space a confluence. Now, price eventually has formed an inverse head and shoulder on GBP USD, and that is telling us we should expect a much more bullish breakout on this instrument. Now, in the course of this week, price, uh, okay, I don't know what's happening this morning. My rectangle box is not working, so I have to use the lines to represent the levels. All right. So price will likely target the neckline region here as a first profit taking level. Break if there's a lot of volatility, which we anticipate in the course of the week, price may as well break that level and go to the next resistance level. So in the course of this week, we are anticipating a move on GBP USD between 70 pips to as much as 200 pips in the course of this week. Now that's on the daily time frame. We've seen it an uptrend, a support, and an inverse head and shoulder. Now it will take it down to a lower time frame because I don't expect you to place a trade on the daily time frame except you are a position trader and you have a lot of liquidity. So let's take it down to little time frames that can be applicable to many of us on the platform. So we take it as low as a 1 hour time frame. So again, just like I analyzed for gold, for GBP USD, if price is able to make a clear break above this resistance, you never can tell me that resistance retrace before breakout. Anyhow it happens. But what we are looking out for is a clear breakout above this resistance level, and you can target the first profit take level, which is a neckline of GBP USD on the daily time frame. And like I said, the volatility is quite strong. Price will likely break out above that level again and continue. So two ways you can trade this. You can take a first trade at the break here, targeting the first take profit level, which is in resistance or the neckline. Price may retrace, retest, retrace, break, retest, and break out for the second phase. It depends on how the market chooses to do it, but that is the likely flow I'm seeing here. So we have a first, so you can decide depending on the trading style, you can take just one trade to start, take your profit at 70 pips. Then at the breakout, take a second trade and watch it go to the next resistance level at almost 200 pips. Or better still, depending on your risk management plan, take out two trades. Let the first one eat profit, the second may retest or retrace before breakout and go to 200. The choice is actually yours. But the important thing is that we are bullish on the GBP USD for today and the better part of this week. And the third is on BTC USD. I'm giving us just for analysis for today. We're looking at GBP USD. Okay, before the GP, sorry, did I say GBP, BTC? Before the BTC USD, I just want to show us quickly something on the Eurocard. Eurocard is having an evolving setup also, though not as high probability as the GBP USD and gold that I've shown you, but it's equally worth noting. And this is the Eurocard on the daily time frame. You can see for Eurocard on the daily time frame, a rising wedge pattern is forming. Price has moved and formed a wave higher low. So the next wave should be a downward movement. That should be a bearish movement, should be the next wave right from what we're seeing on the daily time frame. And if we take it down again to the 4 hour, we can see another set of higher highs and higher lows, another wave here, a rising wedge, which should also give us a downward movement. So both on the daily and the 4 hour, we are this region now has become a confluence point from where we may anticipate, a downtrend. And still on 4 hour, we can still draw our trend line right here and a second one at the back to give a perfect looking rising wedge pattern. All right, so we have a rising wedge, we have a rising wedge both on the daily and the 4 hour. So in the course of this week, we may be expecting a breakout downwards on the Euro card. I'll still flip it down to 1 hour. If you're a swing trader, 4 hours is just good for you. But if you're a day trader, you may be looking at making your entry on 1 hour. Now, on the 1 hour time frame, we have this my box is still not working. We have a resistance, a support. Price may make an uptrend and possibly form a double top and break out downwards from there. That may fetch you some few pips on the 1 hour time frame. That can fetch you as much as 20-25 pips. That can be a first take profit level if you're a day trader. Just take one trade anytime price breaks out below the Euro card or 1 hour. And if you want to take it further as a swing trader, then you wait for a breakout below that trend line on the still on the 1 hour or preferably on 4 hour, and that will give more downward movement. So either as a day trader or a swing trader, there is something for everyone on the Euro card. So if you're a swing trader and you watch price break out below this level, then you may watch it target the trend line down below at as much as about 190 pips thereabouts. So either ways, either as a day trader or swing trader, there's something for everyone on Eurocard in the course of this week. So watch it very, very closely. All right. And so finally, I'll go down now to BTC USD. So you're there, you trade cryptos, and your focus is the BTC USD. Yeah, there's something for you on the charts. All right, so for BTC USD, last week, Friday again, it was one of the key instruments I analyzed and I gave a bullish outlook on, and it went exactly as we analyzed. I remember telling us I was seeing a double bottom pattern and a breakout, and price was able to hit as much as about 350 pips, right up there on BTC USD. Let me use Fibonacci tool to confirm a few things. All right. So price ranged on hitting Fibonacci 38.2, and we can see there was a clear reversal back to Fibonacci 0. Now at 0, we could see there was a retracement here. So the next wave I want to believe should be the move back upwards. And why do I have that outlook? If we go back to the daily time frame, we'll see clearly that price is still trading around this uptrend. The uptrend here, higher low, and this is still a major confluence point with a support zone where price is expected to trigger upwards. Now, if price is going to be looking at that upward movement, it also means that we are anticipating the formation of a double bottom pattern on the daily time frame on BTC USD, and that will see price trigger into the bullish direction. So technically, we have a bullish outlook on BTC USD, except if market condition just changes, for whatever reason in the course of this week. So now you are a short-term trader. Should you just enter it by even a long term? No, just watch what I'm going to show you now. Now, if you're there, you are a scalper. You can actually scalp something good out of BTC USD today. This is BTC on 15 minutes time frame. Now we have a triple bottom pattern forming on 15 minutes, which will see price trigger up after breaking out above this neckline. So that is something you can catch as a scalper in the course of today. So we have an uptrend, and price at least will target this resistance level first before any other thing. And that can fetch you as much as some 11, 10, 11, 20, 15 pips thereabout in that first wave of movement. So scalpers, get ready. This is short time frame. This is 15 minutes. In the course of this morning, just watch out. We may see some reversal in that direction. Now, if you're there, you're a day trader, then you'll be looking at making your entry on 1 hour time frame where we expect a reversal in price. And if you're doing a 1 hour time frame and price makes its reversal, then you'll be looking at targeting something bigger than what a scalper is looking at. All right, so there for day traders, you want to wait for price to clearly break out the trend line, above the trend line right here, and you'll be looking at setting your take profit at least at Fibonacci 61.8 up here, and possibly Fibonacci 78.6. Those should be the levels you will have to target. All right, so I think we should just stop it there. Anything higher than that will be swing, and that could be much more massive. And to be honest, I would advise you trade BTC with caution when it comes to swing trading, because the volatility can be high. A 15 minutes or 1 hour is still very much okay. Though in reality, if it breaks above this other big level here, that's when they say we're expecting a double bottom, which can give us a bigger move up. But then let's just still leave it at the 15 minutes and the 1 hour for now. So we're bullish on BTC USD. Now, for those who are joining us quite late, I've just analyzed 4 instruments for us this morning. I started with with gold. We're bullish on gold. We're bullish on GBP USD. We're bullish on BTC USD, and we're bearish on Euro CAD. All of them basically on 1 hour. Some have the 15 minutes outlook to them, which is good for scalpers. All right, so that'll be all from our analysis this morning. I will answer some of the questions I'm seeing being dropped in the comment section as we begin to round up. Okay, Michael Lebong said I should check New Zealand USD. Clement Ogunshola, yes, I saw a rejection candle on the weekly time frames. Okay, maybe you need to clarify that by letting me know the specific instrument you're talking about. That's for Clement Ogunshola. Frank Benga Fadero, sir. Good morning, sir. What is your bias on gold? I'm bullish on gold, sir. We're very bullish on gold. So I'll start with the New Zealand USD that is being requested. Now, my outlook on New Zealand USD for last week was a bearish one, which where price came out exactly as analyzed. I remember I even posted this on the groups that I was seeing a downtrend and a head and shoulder and price broke out just exactly as analyzed. If you took that setup, you should make some good money for yourself. Now, what is the current move in sorry, how am I saying BTC? In New Zealand USD, price has done its thing. We've seen a head and shoulder and a breakout. Now it's trying to reverse back upwards. Now it's of note that the dollar index is looking bearish, and that's why we're seeing assets like JP USD Gold going bullish. Now, there's a likelihood New Zealand USD might go bullish, but then for now, we're not having a clear setup on it. And I don't personally, if you've followed my analysis for quite a while, I don't work on assumptions. I work on probabilities. So I wouldn't want to say anything now. It may buy, but I'm not giving any setup because I'm not seeing clarity on the New Zealand USD at the moment. But it's clear we are seeing a bullish one on GBP USD. That is very clear. The probability is very, very, very clear. So I would advise you stick with the instruments we've analyzed because we've seen a very clear probability. Those ones will go in the direction we have analyzed. All right. So Mr. Clement is talking about BTC USD. That's the one he said he saw a rejection candle on the weekly time frame. So let's look at that. All right, so let's go to the weekly time frame on BTC USD. Okay, I need to clean this setup so that I can see clearly. All right, so Mr. Clements, you said you saw a rejection candle. Sorry, it's unfortunate my rectangle box is not working this morning. I don't know why that. I've tried it repeatedly, so you just have to pardon me. I may just have to use. Okay, I think I remember something that happened. Oh, okay. It's not as if it's not working. It's a color. I think the color got changed from ash to white. All right, so I'll get it back now. All right, so it's back. Okay. Yeah, we have a rejection candle here that is forming something that looks like a double top pattern. I want to get a lighter shade of ash. That one is too dark. All right, better. All right, so we can see clearly. Yes, you're right, Mr. Clement. We have two rejection candles here at a resistance level, forming what looks a lot like a double top pattern, which could give a bearish outlook. That's very correct. However, at the same time, we equally have a resistance turn support right here. So we will not ignore this. This is the weekly time frame. So we will not ignore this resistance that has turned to support around here also. And that could push price back up before an eventual drop. You understand? So if we are to note that resistance turn support, then we'll go down to the daily, and we can clearly see on the daily time frame that price, you can see it here that the resistance is still very, very valid, and it's still valid right here. So this may push price up before the drop. Now, if it happens this way, then we'll end up on the big picture having a head and shoulder pattern, which will lead to a much more massive bearish breakout. But you see, we have to, in technical analysis, we work with what we are seeing. So here we have a valid support, and that's why I said this is looking a lot like a double bottom pattern, which may see price go back up there. But I also said it that if for one reason or the other, maybe this doesn't work out, then we may still see a big breakout downwards because this is still a clear double top on the daily, on the weekly time frame. Now, the thing here is that this is BTC. Volatility is very, very high. So even if you are seeing a pattern on the weekly, you're seeing another one on the daily, sometimes you may see the daily still work out a little before the bigger one takes over. So I will still support in the short term. Let me put it that way. I will still support that bullish outlook in the short term. But in the bigger term, yes, in the bigger picture, we may see the bearish take effect. But let's look at what we are seeing first. Then we can look at the bigger one much later. I hope that's clear for Mr. Clement Ogunshola. All right, Madam Onaji is asking me to check Euro AUD. Euro AUD. All right, so let's go to Euro AUD. Okay, I seem not to be finding it, so let me open a fresh one. All right, so this is Euro AUD on the weekly time frame. The candle for last week closed as a rejection candle up there. Not only that, it also closed on the resistance zone. Now, a resistance and a rejection candle, I would say it will likely give us a high probability bearish reversal. So we might be anticipating the bearish breakout on Euro AUD in the course of this week. So let's check the daily time frame. You can see there is a slight bearish movement already. Price may go back up before we see the final drop. So we'll take it down to the 4 hour. All right, so we have a rising wedge pattern on the 4 hour. Like I said, price may drop a little, go back up, then make its final break. Or then we may just see a clear breakout from here. Those are the two scenarios that could play out on this one. So we have a bearish outlook on Euro AUD for this week. Again, for emphasis, we may see a retracement or a breakout or an outright breakout. Any of the two is possible. The most important thing is that we're bearish on the Euro AUD in the course of this week. It's a swing setup, so this will span the week. Okay, I think I'm seeing something, an additional information here. We have a support zone. All right, so price may drop to this support, retest, and a breakout, or price may break out outrightly.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful.
You're welcome,
Thank you.
man. You're welcome, man. Maureen is asking me to check GBP JPY. GBP JPY. So let's check that out. Well, for JPJPY, I will advise you trade with a lot of caution. If you are not on a trade, I will advise you stay out. But if you're on a trade, this is my view. We have a previous support inside that. This is 4 hour. Okay. I think I want to start from the daily. Let's look at the daily first. That's why we don't have much clarity on this, but let's see the daily. Nothing really much on the daily. Let's go to the weekly. On the weekly, there was a previous resistance here, and technically we're to see a downward movement, but we've seen a range in the last couple of days. Now, technically, this actually should be a double top around that resistance on daily, and we should experience a downtrend downwards. That should be the normal bias, double top and downtrend. And that will come into effect more if price is able to break out below this neckline. So in the big picture, we have a downtrend. So we've established that on the daily time frame. Sorry, on the weekly. Okay, that's on the weekly. All right, so let's go down to the daily. Good. So it's a lot clearer now. We have a downtrend on the daily and on the weekly. So still on the daily, we can now draw our trend line here. This is a double top we are seeing on the weekly, which is still of effect on the daily. Now, on the daily, price may drop to this trend line, before touching the neckline. And that is what the 4 hour can now help us to capture. So we go down to 4 hour, and on the 4 hour, good. That's where what I saw on the 4 hour can now really matter. We now have a support turned resistance zone here, which may see at least price may drop to the next support level on the 4 hour and may break out by extension below this level downwards. That can give some 30 pips there, but I'll still take it down to a lower time frame like 1 hour and 15 minutes. Nothing clear. Okay. Okay, I think it's clear, going to be clear on 15 minutes. Okay, it's not too sharp, but what I'm seeing on 1 hour here looks a lot like a head and a shoulder, a head, which may see price drop to the next support level. It's not clear on the lower time frames. It's just better off on the 1 hour. But notwithstanding, on 15 minutes, watch this instrument closely. If price breaks out below this trend line, then you may target the next support zone. That should happen in the course of today, all things being equal. But okay, don't forget there is a news from, there is a holiday from the United Kingdom today, which may have an impact on the volatility of the British pound. But notwithstanding, if things work out, we should still see a breakout to the tune of about 30 to 35 pips on GBP USD. We are bearish on this for today. All right, so now you wonder I started from the weekly and I ended up on 15 minutes time frame. That's actually how powerful top-down analysis, or multiple time frame analysis can be. Eventually you discover that the direction remained the same from the weekly to the daily to the 4 hour to the 1 hour down to 15 minutes. So what top-down analysis helps us to do is to get an overall direction, and we can scale it down like that to the appropriate time frame that we trade on. So if you're there, and GPJPY can be very volatile, so scaling out 15 minutes is still a very good one, and it can help you to catch at least some 30, 40 pips, on this instrument in the course of the day if the price really moves very well in that direction. All right, Blessing Felix, please, I'm a newbie. I really don't understand all the messages. Perfect. And you're welcome on board. This is PU Prime. Now, this is analysis session, and I will really say that this session will be for those who already have an understanding of how Forex work. So if you're a complete beginner, which I want to assume from what you have posted, then I will advise you join our physical training session. Now, this depends on where you're based. We have two physical offices in Nigeria, Abuja and Lagos. So if you live around Abuja or Lagos, then you can go to any of these offices, to have a training on how Forex really works. Now, we have physical training 2 times in a week, Tuesdays and Thursday. For the Abuja office, the address is PU Prime Abuja Walk and Connect Building, 50 Ebitu, Ukiwe Street, Jabi, Abuja. And if you live in Lagos, then you can join our physical training session in Lagos at PU Prime Lagos. Uh, Agos Executive Lounge at 54B Adeniyi Jones Avenue, Ikeja, Lagos. Now, time for the Abuja office training is 10:30 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the time for Lagos office training is 11 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we'll be glad to have you in any of these locations for training. And if you need further inquiries, you can reach out privately to me. I'm the one that dropped the link. My name is Rotimi, the Chief Market Analyst for PU Prime. You can reach out to me directly on the WhatsApp account from where I drop the link to this Zoom class that you joined, and I'll be glad to guide you, through every stage of the process. All right.
And
So
sorry, sir, please, I also dropped as 100. I don't know if you'll be able to
yes, I'm still
help us.
scanning through the messages,
Okay,
so
sir.
I'm attending
Okay,
to them one by
okay,
one.
sir.
Mr. Barra says, "Sir, you skipped my observation." No, I don't skip observations. Maybe I'm just talking about something else. I'll say come back to it. Okay, for Mr. Barra, he said, "Good GU, good morning, sir. I thought about the GU will retrace a bit before going up." Well, that depends. That's not really our decision. To what extent it retraces is not but the most important thing from what you said is before it goes up. So the overall thing is that you still believe it's going to go up. So that's what is most important. To what extent it retraces is not really in our power. We are not controlling the market. You know, this is a resistance, and this is what I said, that I'm anticipating a breakout above this resistance level. So whether it draws further, it's not really much of my own concern. What I'm looking out for is that breakout above this area, because that's what I am looking at trading. And if you look at this, though I don't want to dwell much on this. I'm seeing this already as an inverse head and shoulder, but like I said, I'm not dwelling much on it. So my own major concern is the breakout here. So it now depends on your trading style. Okay, maybe you're talking more in line with your own personal trading style and your personal bias and preference. But for me, what I look out for is that breakout. Some other persons will tell you that we see some of these things differently sometimes based on how we trade, and none of us is wrong in that regard. It's all about personal preferences. Maybe for you, you feel price will drop maybe first to this support, then now break out from there. If that's your outlook, you are not wrong, and neither am I. But what is most important to me is this breakout here. So for you, if you feel it to drop to that support, then maybe to form a double bottom pattern, and that can give you more leverage. All well and good. Most important thing is we are still bullish at the end of the day. So I hope that answered your question, sir. You're welcome, Blessing Felix. You're welcome, Mr. Barra. So is there another one I'm here to attend to? Okay, now it's 100 by Madam Onaji. Then Stephen Akinyemi, are you bearish on dollars since you are bullish on GBP USD? All right, I'll attend to that. But let's quickly look at NAS 100. All right, for NAS 100, I remember one of my analysis last week. I can't really recollect the actual day. I said it that I can see there's an uptrend on NAS 100 and price eventually. I said it that I was seeing an inverse head and shoulder pattern and I was expecting a breakout upwards. Yes, price had a range before the final breakout, but it still eventually went in the direction of the analysis. All right. So are we still in an uptrend? I would say yes, we are still in an uptrend on NAS 100. We still have that on uptrend on the daily. We still have price, coming from a support level on the 4 hour. So what I anticipate will happen here today is currently we have a retracement. We'll be looking out for a continuation. All right, so we have a resistance here turned. Okay, still a resistance here. So I'll be expecting a breakout upwards on NAS 100 in the course of today. Now, how will that happen? Price may break out, retest, and continue. So that's my outlook on NAS 100 for today. And finally, we'll look at the dollar
Appreciate
index.
it. Thank
You're, you're welcome, man.
thank you, sir.
You're welcome, man. All right, so we look at the dollar index as being requested. Now, I said I'm bullish on the GBP USD, and that is a fact. So does that mean I'm bearish on the dollar index? Well, we'll check out that in a few seconds. All right, so this is the dollar index. If you check the overall trend in recent times, this instrument has been largely very, very bearish, very, very bearish overall. And not only that, some weeks back, we had price closing as a rejection candle on the weekly time frame. This is a very big one, and that has led to some bearish movement. Yes, though we had some bullish in between, but we saw a lot of bearish activity because of this massive rejection candle here. Now, it all depends on market forces or market factors that could drive price, but price may also continue on this bearish direction except market condition changes. Except that price may just continue to, just a second, to this support zone before we see a kind of a reversal. We see price continue to that support zone before a reversal. And that's the more reason why price could, drive itself upwards on GBP USD presently. More so when we have a pattern like this head and shoulder, sorry, inverse head and shoulder. You have the inverse head and shoulder and a trend line on the daily time frame, and also a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern on the daily. These are all showing strength in the GBP USD and possibly a decline in the dollar index. So we have a very high level probability on GBP USD going bullish. Trend line, support, inverse head and shoulder, bullish engulfing candlestick. I can tell you the next wave of our GBP USD will be a bullish one. Except if something happens in the market to change it. But technically, that's what I'm seeing. And that attests to a bearish position on the dollar index. All right, I think I've attended to all the questions right here. Okay, so I will post a link to this recording on the WhatsApp or all the groups will belong.